Okay, it is 10 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order, certify that we do have a quorum present. Item number 2 is opening prayer. We'll have Ricky Kerr lead us in an opening prayer, and following that, Commissioner Snuggs, will you lead us in the pledges? And everyone please rise.
Shall we pray? Father, we're thankful today for the ability that we have to come and to have this meeting. We pray, Lord, that you would bless this court. Help us, Father, to have wisdom and to conduct the business of this county in a manner that would be pleasing with you. We pray for our country, pray for healing, pray for wisdom, Father, for all of our leaders from the president all the way down, that we can make wise choices, that they can make wise choices concerning the issues that are here now. And I pray, Lord, that all of us going forward would sincerely seek to do things in a manner that would be pleasing with you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 5 is public comments. I don't believe we had anybody sign up. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. Does anybody have any items they wish to remove?
I'd like to pull D.
D as in dog for monthly. Any other items?
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda excluding D.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement to approve the consent excluding item D. Seconded by Commissioner Snuggs. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Item D is to deliberate and consider possible action regarding payment of monthly bills.
The reason I had that pulled is my son's tire business. Apparently, I guess it was Precinct 4, purchased tires from Casey's Tires and Brakes. I'm going to have to abstain on the bills, and I will fill out the proper paperwork since I've just realized that someone has purchased from him.
You going to abstain from all of them or just that one?
I can abstain from that one.
Okay. Well, I'll make the motion we approve the bills excluding the referenced item. Seconded by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0.
Make a motion we approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement to approve the Casey's Tire and Brakes bill. I will second that. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We have one abstention, being Commissioner John Clement. Motion passes 4-0-1. Item number 7 is deliberate and consider possible approval of preliminary plat for Jammer 2 subdivision, a proposed subdivision in Precinct 1. I don't have that here. I forgot to bring that in here with me. And Kathy's out, so I'll grab that here in a minute. But
It's gone through Dan and Bob, been reviewed. I'd make the motion, we approve it. You just need it in here for signatures.
yeah, it's the preliminary anyway. It's just my signature. But the copy of it's in the packet. Shows. We have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell to approve. Seconded by Commissioner John Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 8 is to deliberate and consider possible action regarding renewal of SOFO subscription license. Daryl and I kind of were talking about this week. SOFOS, for those that don't know, is our antivirus program that we use on almost all the county equipment. You can see, Daryl, why don't you tell us why we're talking about this and what we're looking at potentially wanting to do.
Yep. So our subscription to this Sophos antivirus is about up, and we need to renew that.
They gave us the normal one-year renewal quote, which came in at $7,300, but they also threw out an option for a 3-year renewal at a total of $11,729, which is cheaper than 2 consecutive renewals in a row. So just wanted to throw that out and see if you had any interest at all in that 3-year agreement. 2 years.
We're comfortable with the product. They're staying current and up to date.
Quite comfortable. We haven't had any problems with it. It's been great.
Looks like you'd save what, over 3 years, it'd be $21,000, save $10,000.
Yeah, if you do it on, do this 3-year license as opposed to the 1, you do save substantial amount. I don't know that we budgeted for more than 1 year, so we'd have to come back in and do a budget amendment to add the additional money in there, but
As long as they're staying current, that's probably a good idea.
I don't think I've heard any issues with it. Before then, we were with Kaspersky.
No issues with this company?
They're not a Russian-based
Not
company.
Russian-based, no. I haven't heard any rumors of scandal.
Russian-based?
Well, Kaspersky had some issues a few years ago.
So how much is your final, because I'm looking at the quote here.
There's 2 different quotes. 11,700 would be the 3-year.
So it's costing you $2,000 a year for the second 2 years versus 7. Be another way to look at it.
The 1 year is 7,300. So
I was looking for the $11,000 one.
You got to just keep scrolling.
it's the next page. They originally, I think,
There's 3 different ones.
they originally said 12 something, and Daryl was able to talk them down to 11,700.
That's why there's a 12,
That's why there's a
465 up here? Okay.
Which in and of itself would have still been a savings.
Still gonna save you money.
But
So do we need to hold off on approving that until we can do a budget amendment?
we can approve it and then run a budget amendment through next court. I think we've got until July. But to bring Shelley up to speed, what we're talking about is item number 8, which is the SOFO subscription, which is our antivirus software, doing the 3-year as opposed to the 1, but there's not money for it, so we'll have to move a little. I don't think there's money for it. We'll have to move some extra money.
So move.
And this is one of those deals, we're only just doing it for 1 year with an option for 2 renewals provided there's no issues with the budget.
Yeah, we've got a budget for that money. If for some reason,
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement, second by Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 9 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding phone system upgrade for Justice Center. This was one of the items we had budgeted for this year's budget, but before we start moving forward with it, I thought it might be good to pull it back in front of Commissioners Court to kind of brief everybody on what we're talking about doing, because it is a almost $40,000 project by the time it's all said and done. So Daryl, you want to give us a little update on it?
Yes, the main goal is replace all the phones in the Justice Center, JP, and jail with newer ones that will be IP phones. So that's kind of the current way to do phones. Those phones connect to the computer network, and then the desktop computers connect to them. So the issue, and this is entirely my fault, last time when I was planning for budget, I under-budgeted for the amount of network switches that we need. I counted that we needed 2 and budgeted $6,200 total for that. And upon looking at it in a little more detail, we actually need 3 switches, which comes in at a little over $7,400. So that's why I'm here in front of you today.
But let's talk just a little bit about that phone system. We talked about it some during last budget, but that was 9 months ago. And part of the reason to doing this is, you're out, that's an older phone system than what's in the courthouse, correct?
It's slightly older than the courthouse. They're pretty close.
And we bought that in '07.
They're about the same age, just that one's an older model.
Yeah.
And the main issue is we can't add any more phones.
That's
If
what
they set up a new office and say, we need a phone for it, sorry, can't do it. We got to steal a phone from somewhere else to move to there. With this new system, we can have as many phones as we have network plugs.
But this is voice over IP?
Yes, sir.
So if you lose internet, you lose phones?
Yes, sir.
What are we going to do with our 911 system? Is it a separate system?
It's a separate system.
Because
That's still.
I hadn't been too impressed with voice over IP. And we're working on fixing it, but we're having to change out our internet service. And my concern is if we lose internet service, I mean, as long as we're not shutting down the 911 system, I mean, that would be kind of the sheriff's call if you want to accept the risk of when you lose internet, you lose phones.
The 911's still totally managed by AT&T, so this system's unrelated.
And the part of the difference between what you've got up at your barn is this has got direct fiber to it as opposed to, so you got a different source, different level of,
So we're hardwired to it.
we're hardwired to it.
Or I'm doing wireless.
So you would have to have a larger scale outage, or somebody would cut a fiber line, which is not out of the realm of.
Yeah, but you could lose a phone line.
You could lose the phone line
I mean,
at the
It's a
same
line,
time.
is a line.
Yeah.
You would think it's wireless, but no, it's a, or a
Well, I just want
microwave.
to confirm, I'm thinking we have fiber out there.
Yeah, we have
need to
fiber.
understand that we're subject to lose phone calls.
Voice over IP on cable internet connection, and in the afternoon, when everybody's on the internet, I couldn't talk on my phone, I switched when I got fiber, zero problem, so.
The fiber, I'm sure, makes a considerable difference.
I have been thinking lately about if there was ever any construction between the Justice Center and 82. I want to keep a close eye on it to make sure that nobody cuts that fiber, because,
There's about to be some construction out there.
is there?
That fiber there is about 6 foot deep though, isn't it? And of course, they should dig test before they
Yeah.
dig, so, and it's marked.
It would be
It just
great if
depends
we,
on what the contractor lays the line, puts it in. I've seen it less than 2 foot deep out in the
Fiber?
rural areas.
Well, we rent it from Nortex.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen Nortex fiber out in the rural area, less than 2 foot in the bar ditches, so.
You would hope that on
Don't take it for
82,
granted.
I would hope that I would imagine it would be.
But what my point being is Darrell shouldn't have to watch it.
No.
well, it's true, but it never hurts to keep my eyes open. So I wish we had a redundant path where another fiber left going to the east from the Justice Center, but that's not there. Hasn't even been talked about that I know of, but, you know.
You're lucky you have one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Knowing the past history of how much fun it was to try to get any kind of major line out there. So lucky we have one.
This is a budgeted item short of the $7,000.
not even that, it's short of $1,300, I think.
Right.
So,
You're going to be able to put as many phones as you have plugs, basically.
As many phones as we have plugs, and running a new plug costs about $150. So if we had to literally add a plug, it's not a really big expense.
and the reason you can't add a plug now is because the board won't accommodate it.
Yes, the switch where all the plugs plug in the main room, it's full, but the new stuff doesn't work like that.
Okay. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
We got a motion to approve the project, plus I'm assuming we'll do a budget amendment next court to add that 1,300 that's necessary, by Commissioner Leon Clement, seconded by Commissioner Hollowell. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Darrell. Item number 10 is deliberate and consider possible approval of equipment lease purchase agreement between Welch State Bank and Cooke County Road and Bridge Precincts 1 and 2 for a purchase of a 2017 Bearcat chip sealer. This is one of you two. I don't know why I'm on here as the,
Why do they call it a lease purchase?
Well, that's one of the main things for the public to understand. We're not lease purchasing, that's a term used. We're actually financing this and we will own it.
Well, because technically,
you could turn
you
it
haven't
back.
paid for it, so you're leasing it to buy it. I mean,
Yeah, but this will be something
that's
we,
just terminology.
yeah, we will own. This is not
Yeah.
a lease.
So it looks like over a couple of years it'll,
Actually, yes, we'll
We may have to pick this apart for a while. I don't know. The fine print in here was pretty small.
So anyway, I'll move to approve it, and we'll let Leon go to picking.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell. If you want to, seconded by Commissioner Snuggs. Yeah, it is it's called a lease purchase, but it looks like there's a couple, 3 payments in here, and then it's not
Yeah,
a,
we're done with it next.
They made a down payment this year, and they're going to pay it off next year.
yeah, so
It won't go
two,
into any budget beyond next year's.
okay.
So can I ask a question, since the two of you are buying this together? How is that gonna work in the future for any maintenance issues, or?
We have a contract between the two precincts that have to be approved by both commissioners, present or future, to amend it.
Is that contract coming through Commissioners Court for us to view? Is it something we need to see? Because I've heard this on, the last 3.5 years. Everything that you do as commissioner affects the next commissioner behind you. So you two are signing an agreement, but, your term's coming up, and if you get defeated and the new man comes in, what if he doesn't want that chip spreader?
So I get the first opportunity to buy it, or he gets the first opportunity to buy it.
We can run that.
I don't have a problem running it through. I
Well, we
mean,
haven't completely finalized.
I've never even seen anybody take a step to write an agreement.
I have discussed this with other commissioners throughout the state, and they tell me that sharing equipment does not work. That
We're about to find out.
what happens is one precinct will have it, and they turn it back in, and something's messed up, and the hands for the other precinct complain about the other precinct.
Yeah,
I've talked to commissioners that split the large ticket items throughout the precincts, and they say it works good, as long as you have what we're gonna have is a designated operator from each precinct, so, Bob at one precinct and Billy at the other precinct, they're the only operators, and they'll have to communicate,
And at the local level, I've heard 1,000 times, why don't you guys share equipment?
my people ask, my campaign is, why don't y'all have the equipment?
When I got elected, I had a group tell me, please don't share equipment, because another precinct gets it and they take it, and invariably they bring it back, and then something's gone or missing or
Oh,
broke.
it's a two-edged sword. I'm not going to
two-edged sword.
pickups and motor graders,
But
because just like when I need a motor grader, you need a motor grader.
I know.
That kind of stuff.
I think it would be wise in the great realm of all things legal and argumentative that I'm not going to nitpick your agreement, but
That way it's filed. And
the world changes, you never know what's going to happen, and you could have someone come in and say, I didn't do that.
Yeah, whenever, I was sitting here as it was coming up, I was thinking about that, we need to file it and have a copy in your office too, because I've heard the stories of back in the day, 2 and 3 split all the chipping equipment together, and, 2 doesn't have anything to show for it. So, I don't know what happened in the past, it'd be good to have it as a centralized deal too, so.
2 and 3 shared chipping equipment?
But way back in the day, Jerry and Alexander did. And I guess whenever Alexander left, whatever equipment it was, I don't know what it was, went to 3.
If it becomes a problem, I'll purchase it.
But it would be good.
Assuming we
Yeah,
can get
it would-
3 votes.
It would be good to run it through court, so it's all,
No, it's not.
you got it record,
Oh, yeah.
a record of it is all I'm saying.
We just need to finalize that part of it.
We've given it thought, tried to,
Walk through the scenarios.
walk through the scenarios. I mean, it's broken down to proportion amounts in case one uses it more than the other, then they will pay a maintenance accordingly and stuff of that nature. And if the next guy doesn't want to sign up for it, then I can buy him out or he can buy me out. But that's the guy's out. He doesn't get an option to change.
I base it
Change
off of some airplane partnerships that I've been into that makes it fair on usage versus maintenance.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 11 is deliberate, consider possible action regarding annex remodel. We do have I believe it made the packet this time, a letter with terms on cost from Komatsu. Wanted to get the court's direction on where you guys wanted to go with this. Looks like there's a design stage, and then construction stage, interior design, engineering, kind of breaks it down into 3 or 4 different groups.
Did they come up with that by the price per hour? So if we use them less hours, then those numbers should be smaller? Do you have any idea on that?
And it says total hours estimated for, so I'm assuming that is,
Because, you know, they got the 73,000 up there where they've done some stuff by the hour, and then it's broken out.
Design phase 15%, construction documents 70%, construction phase 15, that's how they want to be reimbursed.
But I'm wondering if that 114 is a firm number?
yeah, I'm not
Or
sure.
if, based on number of hours, if the 61 at the top reduces in the design stage, would it reduce any of the 114 on the bottom?
That's a lot of money,
Go ahead.
a lot of money.
Well, and we are in the negotiation phase of this, so we can go back and try to get some clarification on that before we move forward on it. But I wanted bring it back before everybody for review and,
In light of the recent complications to the economy, surely they could
they can understand that the,
accommodate us accordingly?
yeah.
You don't want to leverage off that, do you?
Just for everybody's purposes that doesn't have this in front of them, the total sum of services is $114,339. But that includes several different phases, and there's a lot of hours added to each phase or involved in each phase. So if,
Well, that's for the design, the management of the
Yeah,
construction,
yeah,
the construction documents, and then managing the construction.
it's from all phases of the potential project, so that's why.
What does TDLR have to do with a
Handicap,
project like that?
handicap accessibility. They'll review it, and then they'll
They
come
have
back
to
and give you
inspect it, right?
basically, yeah.
Yeah, they'll
Before
get
we get a
inspected.
CO.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
And ironically, every time we've done it with this firm, we've always had to go make some changes before we could get
Did you have any trouble with your barn?
not 1 iota. Just like we did with the EMS over there, we didn't have
Yeah.
one issue.
which we still have that option, to not necessarily go with Komatsu if we're not.
Yeah, ask them if they can't do a better deal
Yeah, I can make that
in
happen.
light of the current economic,
And then I'll get kind of clarification on,
yeah,
on the estimate.
especially since we're all kind of wondering how this is all going to shake out monetarily.
I will reach out to them and report back.
I'm kind of shocked. I would have thought they would have had all these engineers on staff at a place like that, but there's 7 out there.
Most of them kind of have somebody that's, that's not in-house, but the ones they use,
They don't necessarily sub it out, but they do sub it out, sort of.
yeah, it's not it's one that they always use. I mean, a lot of them have that, but it's an independent firm, but it's one that they have
Y'all
close
know-
working relationship with.
You know that Betancourt got a ruling already from
Yeah, I saw that from the AG.
AG on whether the pandemic was the right kind of
Disaster,
disaster
yeah.
as far as the taxing districts and everything is concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It'd be an interesting budget season.
It didn't take long for them to get a ruling
No,
either.
no.
Kind of amazing, wasn't it?
But I will try to negotiate that a little bit and get some clarification and bring something back for consideration.
Do they list who they use for their inspection?
Did they what?
List who they use for their inspection?
No,
I didn't see it.
no, not, you talking about for TDLR?
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
But they've used the same person, I think, every time we've ever utilized them. Yeah.
Mullins.
He's got a pad about this thick too, you know.
It's Mullins.
Mullins, that's right.
Yeah, we done a walkthrough over here, said, any issues, and he said no, and we got 7 or 8 pages
Of issues.
of issues when he left.
I remember that.
I can clarify that if that's who they're still using
Yeah, if
as
that's
well.
the same.
Yeah, I can ask that.
Yeah, that would be good to know.
Would help in making decisions.
Well,
You got any questions on it or any thoughts, Shelley?
No, not necessarily. I don't, no.
She's still mumbling over that. You're still mumbling over that.
If nothing else, we'll see what we can get refined and bring back. Item number 12 is deliberation regarding status and future needs of CPS court and consider any possible action regarding the same. I know that construction is continuing on the 2 conference rooms or
Is this, some of this carpet?
I was going to say, we got some carpet.
yeah. That's 2 different, it's, one color is going to be for in here and the others is going to be for over there. I know I looked at the rooms the other day. I mean, they're going to be decent sized. I was concerned they were going to be too small or how it would work, but it looks like it's going
Yeah,
to work
no, they're
well.
going to be fine. He's got it framed up and partially sheetrocked. He didn't get a chance to work on it this weekend, but he's moving forward with it. Doors are here and stained and look good, and it's just a matter of time for him to get that finished. The carpet squares, I laid them, these are the samples that we got, so I laid them here. Part of these were sort of intended for here, and part of them were intended for over there, but I just brought all of them here because one of the ones that we had chosen for here, the judge and Sabrina and other powers that be like it for over there. So
Who's the other powers that be? I'm just curious.
Krebs and Deanne and others that were standing
So
around.
that's good. Krebs is going to take over picking the carpet color out.
Oh, they just,
That sounds good to me.
everybody has an opinion. Nobody wants a responsibility of it.
Really? Okay.
So what was the color that those that were asked, it might have been the better,
For over there. They don't get a vote for over here.
the one on the far end?
One on the far end. That one? They want that for over there?
Are they really going to be, is carpet squares now, is that the new shape of them? They're no longer squares?
They'll be square,
They
but
will be
those
squares,
were...
that's just samples.
That's just samples.
Okay, I was kind of concerned about that. That's more like a plank for like hardwood or something.
I suggest we take them over there and see how they look. Have you
Road
done that
trip?
yet? You've had them over there? Okay.
You've had them over there, and they looked over there with them in place.
Probably the best one. Several here.
Pretty comfortable.
Blues and grays work well over there. To me, browns and greens would work better in here. One green that they had, they didn't have very many greens at all. Doesn't look very good to me. It's kind of a lime highlighter green.
Oh, it's real easy to pick them because you're looking at a computer screen and the little square you're looking at is about that big.
That's the issue there. This don't look like it looks on.
Well, then every computer screen's going to be slightly different based upon the monitor you're looking at it through.
But if the ones that are going to live with it have chosen that one, we have any reason to not go with it?
I'm fine with that.
Do we need a court vote for him to be able to pick the carpet up? Courtroom?
We probably need to vote on a color, that way if we're ready to vote on a color.
They're not colorblind people, are they?
I have
Well, we have
no
seen the
comment. No comment.
I know Krebs knows red, green, and amber.
See, that's what worries me. I was going to say that, but I wasn't going to be.
I'm good with it if that collective agreement is good with that color.
No, we don't have
I got bad news for you. I helped pick these samples, and I'm going to go look at the color before I say anything. We can wait one more
We
week.
can wait another week, and then we'll put the one on back on for this court, because it's really not on the agenda, but we'll put that on, and some of these samples, I think some of them over here are more for consideration.
In my opinion, yes.
What's the minimum we have to purchase of any one?
It said 250 square yards.
Ooh.
I told her the one project was 230. This one is about 110.
And
And she sent the samples and didn't say anything one way or the other, so
okay,
we will need to confirm that they
Yeah.
will sell us that.
I thought
that
there was a
amount.
limit.
Yeah. 250 was the minimum,
Is this stuff all in stock, supposedly?
yes.
So we won't have to wait 6 months to get it?
Shouldn't.
Yeah.
When we pick a final color, I can verify that.
Yeah.
Are you getting enough for if you gotta remove one and,
We'll get some extras, yes.
We'll get extras.
So I don't know if we need,
10 yards of extra, 20 yards.
30 yards or whatever extra, that's a lot.
That is.
It's a lot.
We have a lot here at the courthouse that fit
For-
that older style. There's 4 stacks of it that high down there.
There's not enough to do this
I was
room.
going to say, enough to do this room.
Not if you mix the brown and green, checkerboard it or something. Another thing that I'll just point out that I noticed, the original carpet that we have in backstop is still a way better grade of carpet than any of these.
Oh, really?
It's a different world. That carpet is, the older carpet is half-inch thick, the padding on it. This is barely a quarter.
Yeah, I noticed they were thinner. There's nothing goes under that, right?
Just lay it straight on.
Yeah.
What's our options?
None.
Try to find another company or something. I don't know. Everything that I've seen, I bought some one time for the DPS building. Got it, it was an Armstrong carpet, and it was thin like this too.
It worked?
It was thinner than this. It works. I just laid it without any glue. That kind of carpet's made to glue down.
This one isn't.
This one isn't.
Yeah.
You can lay this directly on the floor and not glue it.
Are we not making any decisions today?
We'll take it over and we'll put that and the Commissioners Courtroom carpet on next court for next Monday.
and we got the table and chairs in?
Did get the table and chairs for the...
The round table and 4 chairs for each table.
Good. Anything else on item number 12? If not, item number 13 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding county transportation infrastructure fund grant.
Anybody else asked for the road report yet?
Do what?
Has anyone else asked for the road report to attach with their application yet? We're supposed to,
Yeah, we're supposed to have the road report.
a copy of last year's
Yeah.
signed report.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a signed copy of yours?
I don't know, we were supposed to have gotten a copy. Did we get one? Did you-
What?
I believe there was,
Amber was trying to get a copy of it, and I don't know if she ever got it or not.
I think contact needs to be made today.
Okay.
I did last week. So, in other words, when one of us gets them, let's ask for all 4 of them. There's no reason.
Did you get yours?
Haven't yet.
You've already asked for it? Is that what you're saying? Well, we were supposed to have asked last week.
She asked, and I have made a phone call,
I don't think Amber made contact Friday.
Oh, she didn't? Okay.
But the bottom line is, if somebody gets one, get them all.
The DA's office has it. Is that true?
They're supposed
They,
to.
can't anybody seem to put their hands on them at the moment.
Oh, I got you.
But I have somebody at least that's attempting.
I
See,
thought that-
somebody, would they be there? Would it be at the clerk's office, district clerk's
I
office?
figured it would show up in the clerk's office.
You'd think that's where they would file it.
Yeah.
But I think if you didn't know what to do with something,
Okay, I got you.
I'm just saying, if somebody gets them, let's ask for all of them.
We have copies of them, but we don't have the original, or copy of the original, I mean,
I believe,
copy of the approved.
you have the originals
Yeah.
unsigned.
Unsigned, that's what I'm
Unsigned.
No, that's better. If we had to, could we bring those back through court and ratify them?
Well, I mean, they were approved
They were approved.
last year.
Yeah.
They were approved, went to the grand jury, and the DA's office is supposed to
Well,
file.
I don't know that they ever made it to the grand jury.
They were sent to the DA's office.
Because the district clerk, when this grant came out and all the listserv traffic started, I got a call from the district clerk wanting to know what that meant, because she doesn't have anything in her grand jury file under miscellaneous or not court-related or whatever. And so we had a conversation about that, and I don't know if they've ever, I don't know.
Does it, I've always been intrigued by road reports. Is that just counties our size? Does it change when you get bigger? I know we do road reports and it goes to the grand jury and it gets entered into the record vis-à-vis the DA's office. I always was intrigued why that worked that way.
I don't know what the forefathers' thoughts were.
I don't know if it's population specific or not.
I don't
think
know either.
it's-
I don't
know
know
we
why
did.
they go, well, I don't understand why they go to the grand jury.
I don't either.
I don't know either.
I
I
can
know we
see,
did them and I know we signed them and I know we ran it through court, but what happens to it after it leaves here?
what's our time frame on that? We need to, window's open now, I think, for
It opens.
applying.
I mean, you can submit them now, that doesn't open till April the 20, I think it opens tomorrow.
I was going to say, it opens this week or something, toward the end of yeah,
Or that, tomorrow or the 30th.
yeah, we just,
I sure would like to get it entered
Yeah.
because you don't want to wait until the last day because you'll be the last one. And some of the couple of roads that I've put in here, I want to do quick this summer.
so we need to
So we need to find it.
get some movement on that soon. Item number 13, unless anybody's got anything else.
I don't know, does the press understand that? We have to do a road report every year? Every year we have to do a road report. Every commissioner has to do a road report and it goes to the grand jury. In other words, it's a brief synopsis of what we think our roads are like and all this stuff. And there's some specific questions about traffic control devices and stuff. We run them through court and send them to the grand jury, and then we never see them again. Because I assume they get filed. But the CTIF grant, we have to produce last year's road report to go with the application.
The statute doesn't, there's no pop breakdown on the statute.
Yeah, I didn't think there was. I thought it was just
That
generic.
was just a curious question. I never,
I don't know why that's the way it originated.
whatever makes them happy.
Item 13 will be no action. Item 14 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding coronavirus emergency supplemental funding grant. This is a grant through the Department of Justice. This comes down through the COGS for payment of COVID-related expenditures, mainly related to first responders and medical. I think as a region, Texoma region, so that's Cooke, Grayson, and Fannin. Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's somewhere around $250,000 for our 200 and something thousand for our region. Total, the grant is 38 million for the state, but that's broken down by COG region. So here it is, let me look, 274,000 as a region is what it is. And so some of the expenses that we've incurred as of, well, I think the earliest project start date was February. We just got word of this a couple of weeks ago, a week or so back. Minimum expenditure is $10,000, which I think we'll hit. But some of the expenditures we've had, such as the tent, some PPE, some other supplies, some of the medical supplies and stuff that can come out of this grant. We may be able to have some testing for medical care and first-line people being able to be funded out of this grant as well.
You are gonna have to help me to what money's paying for what.
Yeah, there's probably going to be,
I thought FEMA money was paying for the tent, so.
yeah, and it may be, but this is a 100% grant, and FEMA's only 75, so if we can get something paid out of this, then it's,
We just don't want to go to jail, Shelley.
Trust me.
so
We don't double dip.
there's potentially going to be other funding sources as some of this kind of shakes out. I know that some of the larger counties over 500,000 got some direct funds from the federal government. So most of the counties just directly south of us did get those funds. There should be some funds coming to the smaller counties via TDEM and Ag Extension somehow. We're still trying to figure out exactly how all that works. How much that is and when that is still kind of up in the air. But there are some additional monies that may be coming. So keeping all these different funding sources straight is going to be a bit of a challenge, I think. But this is...
Shelley, you're involved in all this, aren't you, in the middle of it, so you keep track of it?
I'm trying.
Well, and all the grants need to go through her office.
I mean, all the grants are
Every
going through
grant
your
needs to
office,
come
right?
through her
I mean, we don't
office.
have people that's out applying for grants.
Yeah.
She didn't say that, but
I never said that.
I said she didn't say that either.
Well, I mean, if you don't,
Well, that's why I said I'm gonna need some help,
Yeah.
that's because I thought the tent FEMA was gonna pay for it. Now,
Yeah.
if yes, if we can get 100% through this, then most definitely we'll do that. And then this other that's through Texas A&M TDEM,
I don't know. Some of that's, I can tell you that some counties larger than us, like Denton County and Collin County and Tarrant and Dallas, just got sent, what was Denton got, like 160 or 170 million?
Denton got 141 million and Collin got 171 million.
Just sent to them and said, spend this on COVID-related stuff.
They have to return it if they don't spend it
Yes.
all. But I mean,
They'll buy a lot of PPE if nothing else in the future.
it's a crazy amount of money.
It is, and so the larger the county, obviously, the more. So Dallas County and Tarrant are even more than that. There's some.
But I thought it was some on lost revenue.
There's some of it.
Lost revenue
that
also.
Treasury hasn't put forth guidance on exactly what qualifies as COVID-related.
Lost revenue.
If lost revenue is part of that. There's a lot of thought that it's not, and it would be part of another stimulus bill if there was one that would be able to come through for lost revenue. But it can be for response, including personal response, so you could have some mechanism there that it funds private losses, and that there's just no guidance from Treasury, which is why the state got several $1 billion that's supposed to come to local government eventually, but they don't have any guidance on how to disperse that. So they may hold it to balance a budget or two and then release that.
yeah, they can do whatever they want to it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a list of the over 500,000 that got money.
But
I
when
mean,
you're,
it's small, it's a small list.
Yeah, it's a small list.
how does the Fed side jibe with the state side when the Fed says, the Fed's gave them the money directly, I take it, and say, here, spend it on anything COVID-related. And then you have the state officials, that's Bettencourt, and the Attorney General saying that the COVID disaster is not the right disaster to have any effect on the tax appraisal districts as to how they do the property values and all that. So you talk about conflicting.
Well, but the state's going to dole it out like this grant that we're talking about right now, that, you know, we'll have to
Apply.
and supply checks and invoices and
Yeah.
It's
proof.
like this CTIF grant. You're
No,
saying.
this one for,
Yeah, it's similar though as far as you've got to
Steps.
show, you've got to show.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, like all the grants went through the state. You have to
Now-
show proof that you spent it.
But the state will have the ability to hold on to this money if they so fit and use to fund their response, that'll be their terminology
I'd
to.
rather them do that than jack with our fund balances.
Yes, so in the 3.0, COVID 3.0 bill, which is the big stimulus, 2.2 trillion, this is where, not this grant, but where the larger grants we were talking about coming from, money was going to counties and cities, over 500,000 directly from the feds. That they got money about a week and a half ago from Treasury directly into their accounts. It basically said, spend this on related stuff, and you better believe there'll be an audit at the back end, but we really are not going to mess with it on the front end. The state's got a comparable amount of money for population and everything, so Texas got several $billion. The thought process is a good chunk of that is supposed to go to your cities and counties of under 500,000. However, there's no language explicitly saying a timeline that has to happen in the legislation. So the state could hold that indefinitely, potentially use that for other shortfalls elsewhere. That's still, there needs to be some clarification, and may be some clarification on COVID Bill 4.0 that may or may not happen. And what happens in 4.0 is anybody's guess at this point in time. But it's really complicated, but this one is, I don't think, directly related to either one of those funding sources. This is something that the state did on their own, not saying they couldn't come in and supplement it on the back end. And it's got a list of 4 or 5 different eligible activities, mainly being frontline response and law enforcement and medical expenditures, which would be a good chunk, but not all of what we've expended so far. But like Shelley said, there is potential for 100% funding on this as opposed to FEMA, which would be a 75-25.
So somebody is working on an application for this to go through the COG?
This goes through the COG. The COG had to know by Friday whether we plan to. I said, yeah, I believe we plan to, but we hadn't submitted anything yet. We got a submission date of, I think it's not in until June, but the state's going ahead and pushing out the money to the COGs now, I think, within the next week or so.
So our process
So our
is-
process will be working with the COG.
We start with somebody here that's doing the application process.
Yeah, and-
assuming that's not Shelley, then when that process is done, it needs to go to
It's gonna
Shelley for
be-
review before it goes to TCOG.
It really needs to be Shelley and myself that are on these grants and not bringing in another. I think that's the best way to have that communication and know what grants
But I mean,
are.
if you got department heads working on
Yeah.
that, it needs to come through you guys
yeah.
before it goes
Yeah.
anywhere else.
I think there's a resolution that has to be done with this also.
There will be, I think, but I don't know that we've got that in this thing that we were sent out. All we had to do was basically say, yes, we plan on applying for it so that they can start. Just general, hey, here's kind of what we've got so far, just because they're the state's about to start pushing down some of this money to be applied for. This isn't the actual application on here today, but we need to.
So like all of your signage and your tent, and so are we gonna put all that down? Or?
Signs in there yet.
You have it,
Tent is,
The t-
the bed for the UTV,
yeah, in the bed for the UTV.
And then some PPE.
And this, let's see, what else?
You might have some, in conversation we can have, but you might be able to do testing on frontline individuals?
I haven't received any of those bills from the hospital yet,
Okay.
or whatever.
And those would probably be able to be the actual
Yeah.
test for, at the testing center.
So
That
the,
phone call I got, I haven't gotten anything yet.
Oh.
I haven't received anything yet. Let me speak proper English.
But it sounds like that y'all got a good brainstorming session
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
And she's asking questions, so y'all need to stay in the same loop.
so the COG got $274,438.
Not yet, but
Well,
they will.
they're going to. That's what they're
As the
allotted.
region, yes.
That's what they're allotted
Yes.
according to this chart.
Yes.
And how many ways will that be split?
As many ways as.
Sherman,
Yeah.
I know, I'm just doing a
I'm just
mental.
saying, that's who we're competing
So-
with for chunks.
Yeah.
I don't know what the cost allocation breakdown on the region is, because if it runs through public safety, and you may follow that same public safety
Yeah.
breakdown per, so population-wise, I mean, you're talking about Grayson County getting a large percentage of it, because they're
Sure.
the largest part. But I don't know that, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars coming to Cooke County. City of Gainesville will get some, Cooke County will get some. If any of the smaller entities, they could act, and they don't meet that $10,000, they may join in with us. So I don't know exactly what the dollar amount coming back would be.
So you put the tent and everything that you were going to apply to FEMA for, now you put it into this grant, and what if you don't get enough money to cover, the grant doesn't give you enough money, now can you go back to FEMA, or should have we stayed with FEMA? That's the,
I think as long as you don't pay for it, I mean, if you pay for it with some money that's coming in from a grant, then you're done with it. But I don't think applying, as long as it's not paid for, it's not paid for.
In other words, if they come in and use 100% of it, it's $25,000, we pay out of that, will FEMA pay 75% of the remainder?
that's the question.
So if you've got a 5,000 remainder or whatever that number is.
Or you may not get what you think you're going to get out of this, and it's only half enough. Can you take the rest of the other half that this grant won't cover and apply to FEMA for that? Are they
Basically,
gonna-
can you use this for match money also,
Yeah.
that's what you're doing.
Any unmet cost you should.
Yeah, I should, but
I was thinking do the FEMA, do the 75% and then use the 25% of that other grant as the match money.
You might be
That's
able
what
to
you
do
were
that.
saying just a second ago, wasn't it?
pretty much,
I
yeah.
think that's where.
Well, if we could get 100% of it paid, period.
Yeah, it's just how do you, if.
I'm
you-
just wondering how it's split up.
Yeah. You don't want to only get 50% of it paid for through this grant because it ran out of money versus,
And then find out you can't apply to FEMA
And
for it,
then,
because FEMA gets a little, I don't know if this is a whole different animal than roads, but I know what they say about if you've gotten money from anything else for a road,
you got to.
lose that. You gotta, you don't get a double dip, I guess is the word that they use. How long are we gonna have the tent?
Keep us out of jail, right?
Yeah, I won't submit an invoice twice.
Well, I understand,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's something to think about. I know, that's why you need to make sure you're.
Yeah, that's
in
why I'm
the-
saying I need some help.
Yeah, you need to,
But you could possibly submit the remainder of an invoice. If one of them didn't pay totally, then will the other one pay the remainder? ECOG paying 75, or percent of it, and it dries up, we go to FEMA and get the rest of it.
I don't know. How long are we gonna have the tent?
Good discussion we've got for 3 months right now.
When's that up?
2 more months?
Well, about 2 months. And also,
If we don't need it, can we send it back early? Well,
Yeah, you can, but I think most of your cost is in the initial getting set up. So really, you're looking at small cost to keep it for initial.
about 20, a little over 20 to get it, and the first month's cost will be about 70, and all of that.
I didn't realize that. Well, I was never told that, so how would I realize it? Anyway,
If you hadn't asked just now, you still wouldn't know.
huh?
If you hadn't just asked, you still wouldn't know.
Yeah, really. So we've got it for 3 months, whether we need it or not. Okay, that's what I needed to know.
But somebody's working on this.
Yeah.
We just need to
Figure out.
approval to keep working on it.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell,
We do it as a committee.
second as Commissioner Leon Clement. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item 15 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding FEMA grant for 2015 flood. Do we have anything new on this?
Shelley got our personnel changed out.
She
With
did?
Conan Resnick. Right, Shelley?
I don't know. I
Oh,
saw that Rolando was heading another group, so I don't know if they shuffled or.
oh, so they shuffled themselves, okay.
We may have other personnel working on it from FEMA, or from the Cone Resnick side.
This means more training.
Oh,
I'll start over again, yeah.
No, that Charles Smith is staying in the background to help the new people.
the hammer. Yeah.
Do you know what a new lease maintainer is?
I hope so.
Well, there's nothing new on that one.
But I haven't, I mean, other than trying to get the extension
Yeah,
request back in, they're not gonna, they're not moving forward until the extensions are approved.
If nothing else, item 15 will be no action. Item 16, executive session in compliance with Texas Open Meetings Act 5501 of the Government Code. Personnel matters, consult with attorney, and deliberation regarding security devices and audits. It is 10:57, so we will break. We are good. All right, it is 12:20. We are back in regular session. Item number 17 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding FEMA grant for COVID-19. I don't believe we had any action on the FEMA grant. Item 18 is deliberate and consider possible action on public health emergency declaration for COVID-19. The governor is supposed to speak today at 2:30, hopefully laying out some guidelines on reopening and kind of what that's going to look like. Anything at this point is speculation, so I don't really want to go into detail on something I don't know the detail on. But we're going to be evaluating that closely. We may have to meet again this week to figure out some action and how that affects us locally. I think everybody wants to get something back up and running in a safe, responsible manner as quickly as possible, but understanding that we have to do it in a safe, responsible manner is key also. So we're going to be tentatively watching that and hopefully are going to be watching that and hopefully have little bit more direction on where that goes and what that looks like late this afternoon. And so we can make the decisions that we need to make and can make here locally after that.
What time is he on, 2:30?
2:30.
2:30.
He's usually 10 minutes late, so
Yeah, he is.
2:40, 2:45.
Yeah, he's always 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a, well, I know there's a push. Everybody knows there's a push to start opening things back up. It's getting to be summer, and people are wanting to be outside and doing things. But we got to follow the governor's lead, so we can call a meeting rather quickly, can we not?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So we may be meeting midweek or something to, depending upon what his time frame he puts in that, in his directives coming down today. But that's all I got on that, unless anybody has anything on 18. Number 19 is deliberate and consider possible action on personnel matters. I don't believe we had any. Item number 20 is future agenda items. Do you have anything?
Think of anything, keep the COVID on the
COVID, then we need to put this carpet stuff in here for this.
CTIF until we get that
Yep.
squared away, and the carpet, FEMA, and
All the usual suspects.
usual suspects that we have on there, and hopefully we can have some positive results to start opening a few businesses back up, get the economy running again.
Yep.
Do we need to discuss our cyber training? You know,
We need yes.
Remember the cyber
With
training
the
we're
cyber
required?
training back in, we're required to finish up by, I think, 1st of June.
June
Yeah.
14th.
I know,
Precinct 1 was.
I think we need to see I need to look at the status of that, but we'll put it back on here to talk about, see where everybody's at. That was pushed out. I know we had good response at first, but I don't know if we have any stragglers.
And wasn't there a fraudulent email came out for a second round?
Yeah, they had, first you had it, and then they had an email come out and said it was a fake site. They tried to send you to a different one or something, but
And you might not pass.
Yeah. So we'll get that on to make sure everybody's doing that and get, that's got to be done by, like I said, 14th of June. 21 is to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Snuggs,
First time he's woke up all day. Oh, second.
seconded by Commissioner Hollowell. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Oh, yeah.